once had that other camera. I was doing I have another smaller camera.
What do you do with that?
Oh, when I was teaching, I was using it to show the
Okay,
keyboards.
keyboard. What would you do now with it?
I don't know. I never checked it out to see what else we could do.
Where
with
is it?
Right up there.
Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Love's the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do,
Just what to do, just what to do.
if what you're feeling is really true,
Is it really true? Is it really true?
just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Love's the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geri Petito Show. Everyone and anyone who knows me knows I am the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd rather be a smart ass than a dumbass. Because, guys, 33 years ago, I was a dumbass. But today, 33 years later, through the grace of God, I can honestly say now I'm a smart ass. Yes, the word ass is in the Bible at least 40 times, and it means donkey, and that's what I was. I'm saying all that to say this. There are a lot of people out there struggling in recovery as well, family members, addiction, right? And even with health issues. I'm a nutritional health coach. I'm also a recovery coach. All my services to you are free. Please, please reach out. I want to let everybody out there to know someone is listening. If you think my book can help someone, you can go right to Simon & Schuster's bookstore, Archway Publishing, BAM, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and you can go to my website, www.geripetito.com. Please subscribe to the Geri Petito Show YouTube channel. And guys, listen, if you truly, truly, truly cannot afford my book, please, please reach out to me about that as well. I'm here to help you. So before I introduce my really cool guests, I would love to give a shout out to a few of my sponsors today. First, I have Stormin Norman Selden, 732-245-4777, www.storminnormanselden.com. Booking dozens of attractions for concerts and performances on venues of all sizes. Guys, he's got from a 5 to 12-piece band, and he is a beast on the keyboard, and he was in here recently with his keyboards. He's unbelievable. But a lot of people don't know this. He helped get Larry Chance from the Earls back in the day started. And Larry was family to me, and Larry, we love and miss you. Rest in peace, Angel. Then we've got Ken Ryan and Linda Garofalo, The Way It Used to Be, singing songs from the 50s to the 80s, a tribute show to the greatest music and voices of all time. And guys, Ken even sings Elvis for me, baby. Thank you very much. Those two people are beautiful. They do so many benefits as well. And then John Bishop, a.k.a. Johnny B., singer-songwriter, host of the Entertainment Luncheon South, a nonprofit network created for the creative. Facebook group page, Entertainment Luncheon South, partner in the Joey D. and Johnny B. Rockin' Oldies band. And guys, let me tell you something about him and his wife, Lenny. They're amazing as well. What they do for all of us is unbelievable. They promote us like nobody else does. They promote all the entertainers, everybody in radio. And him and his wife put on a luncheon once a month. It's $20. You get lunch and incredible entertainment. Okay? Entertainers have flown in to be there, and they do not keep a penny of it. It's just amazing. So I want to thank them both. So, guys, now I want to introduce two of my really cool guests here today. So we've got Professor Louie and Marie. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everybody out there. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Yes.
So this is really cool. So let's start with this. I want to give both of you the mic. And Marie, maybe you go first. Ladies first, okay?
Okay.
Just tell everyone a little bit about you. And then we'll have Professor Louie tell everyone a little about him. And then I want to hear about both of you, your collaboration.
Okay, well, I started out when I was very young playing classical music for many years. And then, of course, I started having my own little rock bands and in the basement in Brooklyn and always played music. As time went on, I answered an ad in a newspaper from New York City called The Village Voice. And
Oh.
it was a producer putting together a band that was going to be playing in the Asbury Park area and also recording. And he was looking to put a band together. So I went into the city to answer that ad and audition. And at the same time, Professor Louie, who was up in Poughkeepsie going to school at the time, saw the ad and he went down to answer the ad. And we met in the elevator of the building, going up to the audition together.
Okay, so I have a question about that, obviously. All right, before he tells his side, okay?
Okay.
So listen, so you guys are in the elevator.
Yes,
You start obviously talking.
yes, but maybe briefly that we were going to the same place.
Okay,
Yes,
so you get to the same place.
yes,
When you were there, did you guys hang out a little or any of that?
just a little bit
All right.
initially.
When you left, what happened
Yes.
then, real quick?
Well, when we left, we didn't know if we were going to be in this group. And then we all, the different people got called. 5 different people got called to be put into this
All right.
rock, type of group. And then Louis and I started hanging out and working on music together at that
So,
time.
are you together? Together?
Yes, we're together.
Oh my gosh. Okay, how many years?
Many moons, as I say.
Okay.
Since we're young folks.
Really?
And
That's
all
really
through-
cool, and that's a great
all-
little story. I love stories like that.
Yeah, all through our
Oh.
lives, we've played music, and Louis will tell you much more. We've been all over the world, traveled to many, many places, met millions of beautiful people, and we still see a lot of people today that still come and see us.
Okay, so wait. I still have to talk to her. Sorry, Lou. All right.
Take your time, Jerry. It's easier for me, believe it.
Listen, so Marie, all right, I'm a
Yes.
world traveler as well. Okay, that was
Yes.
my bucket list to be travel. I didn't. You know what's so sad? I haven't really traveled. I've traveled around the United States, but not as much
Right.
as I should have.
Right.
That was my thing. So, give me some really cool countries that you've traveled to perform in.
Okay, well, we performed and recorded in the Czech Republic in Prague
Okay.
with a tremendous orchestra there and a choir, 100-piece choir. It was an amazing event. We traveled in Italy and played in a number of places, even on a barge in the water,
Oh my God.
for a big festival. Many other. England, we performed in England. We went to Scotland. Louis has been in, he'll tell you later, a lot more places than me at different times also. So we've been really and traveled all over the country of the US and Canada.
Okay.
Can't forget Ireland.
Oh, and Ireland. Oh, my goodness. Yes, Ireland. Yes, we know many groups there and have
So
made
cool.
friends with a lot of Irish groups there. So they, I'm waiting to go back. I'd
I've
love
been
see
to
them
every
again.
place you've mentioned. So,
Oh, good.
I've been to Russia, Germany, and China in the 80s when it wasn't great and had guns pointed at me. Did you guys go to any of those places?
Yeah, I've toured Russia 7 times.
Yes.
Okay. We'll talk another time about that. Cool.
Yeah.
Because you have any Russian money? Because I do.
Yes, we have a lot of Russian
I
money.
still have a lot of it. Yeah, I
Okay.
got money from everywhere.
But you were allowed to take it when you went, right?
Absolutely.
We weren't allowed. I had to hide it to take it out of the country. We'll talk.
oh,
It
take
was
it out,
really
yeah.
cool. All right.
Okay.
Anyway, that's great.
Okay.
So now, Louis, you take the mic. Now tell me a little bit about your journey.
Well, my journey started when I was in school, about 15. I had a great music teacher that would take us out on gigs and go see Count Basie and people like that. And then I was able to earn money when I was 15 playing music, so I quit school and hit the road and never got off the road since that period of time. And so then I started traveling around a lot of R. At that time, it was R&B and soul music. So I started playing soul music around the country with a great act that was known for backing up. In those days, it was real oldies acts and playing on all kinds of shows. So I started doing that, and I was on the Times Square circuit for a long time. Saw them, and then finally moved on to being a studio musician and played on a lot of records. So it started happening. As Marie said, we met in an elevator because I was always looking for shows in different venues and different avenues to keep moving my career forward because it was the only way I could make a living. So
Don't forget
that's
gospel.
that started that. So at one point we lived in downtown Brooklyn, and downtown Brooklyn, is one of the great musical areas, especially when we were there in the
Yeah, yeah,
70s.
yeah.
And in the subway stations, the cigar stores when you go down, there was an empty cigar store, and it was an after hours club that would start at midnight down on Bridge and I think it was Bridge and Lawrence or
Lawrence.
Willoughby, somewhere down there. And on Monday nights was gospel rehearsal night. So I started hanging out because there were great gospel groups in Brooklyn, the
Yep.
gospel heavyweights, all gospel Brooklyn All Stars, Mighty Gospel Giants of Brooklyn, just loads of them, the Flamingos, the Persuasions. So on Monday night, all these great singers would meet. And I go down there and start playing with all of them. And the Mighty Gospel Giants, which had 3 albums out on Mercury, took me on the road. So I played the gospel circuit for quite a long time, playing with the best of the greatest gospel singers ever.
So
And saw them all.
well, name a couple. Come on.
Highway QCs, which was Sam Cooke's original gospel group, not the Soul Stirrers. Everybody thinks it was the Soul Stirrers, but it absolutely wasn't. Highway QCs, Dorothy Norwood, Dorothy Love Coates, which was the greatest singer ever, the Dixie Hummingbirds, the Mississippi Blind Boys, the Alabama Blind Boys, and Mahalia Jackson did a lot of shows with
Oh
Mahalia
my
Jackson.
gosh.
Yeah, and her piano player, Mildred Falls, was her piano player, which
Fabulous.
she showed me a lot of licks. So I was hanging in that scene in downtown Brooklyn in the underground jazz scene at that time too, which was quite remarkable for sure. I still see. Actually, I just played with George Benson's band, which on an R&B show,
Oh my God.
and it was same guys from downtown Brooklyn, which was really
It's still around.
quite.
So wait,
quite a
I
fun
have a
gig.
question for you. I have a question for you. Underground jazz. That sounds to me. Listen, what just an average person hears is like it was in hiding.
Well, underground jazz was more of the, revolutionary jazz players. There was Rashid Ali, who was John Coltrane's drummer, but they took it out farther. Andrew Hill, which was a great piano player. So there was a whole scene of underground people that expanded the boundaries of even what you might call way out jazz, but in a theoretical situation, and really skilled musicians, really skilled musicians. So they were able to do that.
And
So
they
that
played
was,
in a lot of clubs down
and there were a lot of
They played
clubs.
a lot of
There was a
clubs.
place in Brooklyn on Fulton and Flatbush called the East, and every great jazz musician played there. No white people were allowed except for myself. And
Wait, you can't say that and then just hold that thought. So wait a minute. So everyone knows Flatbush Avenue J, from the movie. But anyway, are you being serious or are you being funny?
No, I'm serious.
So
I'm serious about
white
it all.
people weren't allowed there?
They
It's
didn't
an
let.
all black club.
Well, it was an all black. Well, it was an all black
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Neighborhood.
Okay.
They were not too happy with white people coming because I grew up in a black neighborhood, and there is a certain possessive situation and a thinking that every white person's a policeman.
Yeah.
When I grew up, and so therefore, as a musician, I had some special privileges in that world to witness things that the people had not seen.
Wow.
Like the gospel world. Most people never really saw a black gospel church as a storefront or went and played plantations down in Jacksonville, Florida, with no electric and people living there and have a real gospel revival.
Well, Elvis Presley, remember all the
Yes.
videos of
Elvis
him?
is one of the greatest.
Yes,
greatest.
he's tiny. He's a little boy, and he's watching
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
and they let him in. I mean, amazing. This is a cool story.
Well, that's why when I got with the group, the band, they accepted me right away because they knew that. Levon Helm from Arkansas knew exactly what I had experienced.
Right.
So, that's why I was so welcomed in there and so trusted.
All right, so you don't have to tell your age, but you're talking as if you're freaking, 85, 90 years old. Okay?
Not that old.
Not quite that, but
No.
a lot older than you may believe.
Yeah.
But I started really young, you have to
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, but you
we know.
guys look so young, talk so young, act so young, but these stories, you're giving it away a little bit here. Listen, that's
Well, it's important to tell them.
No,
Yeah.
that's major to tell them. You
Yeah.
were actually in these underground jazz clubs. You were also
Yes.
with these black gospel singers where they didn't want white people. After
Yes.
the show, baby, we're going to talk. This is unreal.
Well, the thing is when we were growing up, we used to hear those gospel stations on the AM radio.
Okay.
And I always knew that was the same soul songs that we were playing in the clubs,
Right.
Midnight Hour and
Right.
things like that, Mustang Sally.
Can you see me clearly? Can I show
can
you
see
a
you.
photo?
Yes. Yes, please.
Well, here's the photo.
Well, yeah, I have photos. Luckily I was able to take some pictures, even though we didn't have
This
cell phones.
was a photo of the Mighty Gospel Giants of Brooklyn, and you can see Louis is right here with the group that he traveled with.
Oh
Gotta go a little
my
more to-
gosh. All right. I need a little tiny favor. When the show's over, take a photo with your phone and text that to me of that, please.
Yeah,
I
got
would
it.
love to have
Wonderful.
that.
Wonderful.
But
picture.
those groups, all came from famous groups. The Falcons from Detroit, that was a great gospel group. And the leader of the Falcons wrote Mustang Sally with Aretha Franklin. So I would go see James Cleveland play piano, go up to Detroit, see her father, and
So-
check all that out.
Okay, wait. James Cleveland, you said, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I interviewed the son.
Oh,
Okay.
cool.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh.
I used to watch James all the time on the piano.
And his
Yeah.
wife.
Okay.
But no,
Okay.
okay, very cool.
But anyway, yeah, that was it. So anyway, that was one aspect of things. Besides being in the rock and roll and soul R&B and
Right.
in studios,
Right.
but anyway, that's what got me interested when we were kids and listening to that AM radio, because we were playing clubs. Those nights, those years, you could play 6 nights a week, 6, 7 sets a night. It was a real job.
How
It
much?
was
Okay, I have a question. In what, like in the 70s, you're talking?
60s.
In the 60s. What did you get paid? Tell me.
In those days, a good payday, because don't forget we had unions in those days. So the union scale was $50 a man. So if I worked 6 nights a week, and when I was 15, I was making $300 a week in 1966, 67.
That's a lot of money at that time.
That was pretty good money. And Mustangs were $1,700 brand new off the lot.
Oh my God.
I was buying them all the time.
So now I have a question for you about you being 15. So obviously your parents were really on board with this because you were making money.
No, I had to leave home.
Okay. So, okay.
There was no reason to be home. There's no reason at all.
Can we talk a little bit about that or you don't want to?
Nice people. I could talk about it. No, they were nice people.
Your parents?
Yeah.
You're talking about them as if you just knew them. Listen.
Well, that's the way my household was. We had, 4 sons. My father was a World War II hero. And, he never really quite, what do they have now? They call it PSD,
PSTD. PTSD.
Yeah, he had a big
PTSD.
time,
Right.
Everything stopped with him in 1945. Anything he said went back to that,
Oh, I'm
being in the
sorry.
foxhole and that
All
kind
right,
of stuff.
I'm sorry.
So you had it was fantastic. I had great conversations with him.
Okay. So
And he
now,
really straightened you out about how life could really be.
okay, so now let me ask you this.
So you do whatever you want to do. That
He
was
said
the-
those words. Do whatever you want to do.
Do whatever you
Okay.
want to do, whatever you think you got to do, because you wouldn't believe what could really happen in life.
Okay, so that's beautiful right there. Now I have a
Yeah.
question. So when you left, did you have a place to go, or were you just traveling and singing?
Well, I was doing a lot of traveling. I lived on the road for a long time, but I also was able to have an apartment, because apartments then were cheap too. You could have an apartment with 2 or 3 guys at $20 each a month.
That's okay. All right, got
Yeah.
45th and 10th, because I lived on Times Square for a long. I played every Times Square bar that there
Imagine-
was.
And when we met each other, we played all up and down that area, like
Yeah.
Peppermint Lounge and all those clubs.
Wagon
The
Wheel.
Peppermint Lounge.
Peppermint
Yes.
Lounge, yes, it was
The
an
one that was on
amazing
45th
time.
Street,
Yeah.
not the one that moved downtown.
And
Yeah, yeah.
it's interesting telling some of these stories. I always wanted people to know certain things about us, but at times I would think they wouldn't believe us.
Oh
But
my
you know, when you're out there and you're doing all this stuff, you're meeting all the people that are your age and in music and in the business, and you all become friends. And when Louis and I left the Peppermint Lounge, we, with this group, we went to the Asbury Park area and opened up a club there, the Sunshine Inn, with a manager that
That's
was
the same manager.
same manager that we got us
manager.
together. He opened up the Sunshine Inn right on the water in Asbury Park, and Bruce Springsteen and his band Steel Mill opened up for us every night. We had an original band.
Get out.
No, wait a minute. Steel Mill was playing all R&B. Now, my favorite story of all time, if I ever write a book, which I probably won't, but I love, is that Bruce Springsteen, one time, our group was performing an all original show in a church on the waterfront in Asbury Park. And Bruce and his band came to see us. It was a Sunday afternoon. They sat in the front. We did our show. And at the end of the show, Bruce came up to Louis and I and said, I love your original music. This is such a great thing to do. I think I'll start writing some songs. Now, I think that's a great story.
That's an incredible story.
I think it's a great story.
That's
Nobody,
why-
I won't say.
That's why I don't do that typical question answer interview, because I need these stories. Like,
Right.
this is what I live for, hearing all this incredible stuff.
Yeah,
You know?
and it happened. It's all happened. And a lot of it is documented. I have coffee table books of Bruce Springsteen. And in those books is this pictures of the sunshine in, pictures of different things that happened at the same time, because it's part of history and people put
Right.
it together. And we were there.
All right, so I have a question for you first about your parents when you were 15 and all that. So, did they support you with your music?
Me? Yes. They supported me because I was playing classical music and I came from a big Italian family that loved all the music. They were a little upset when I went, I quit classical and went to start singing R&B, rock and roll, putting little bands together. They wanted me to, of course, stick with the other music that
Gotcha.
they loved, but they were very, very supportive and they really, all through my life, they were very happy that I was doing what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And they were happy that Louie and I were together and able to do all this nice, nice music
beautiful.
together and travel and so forth. Yeah.
Okay, so that's beautiful. So now, go back to a little bit of what you were just talking about. Like with Bruce Springsteen. Do you guys are you still in touch with him? Did you stay friends?
No, we
Okay.
didn't, because the music business does that. But I'll tell you,
Yeah.
the way it came full circle
Full circle.
when I got the job with the band,
Okay.
and I was with the band for many years. Before we did the comeback record, the band had this show called The Last Waltz, 1976, and then they didn't make a record until 1991.
Oh.
And I was with them from about 1985. So somewhere around 89, 90, we convinced Columbia Records at the time to make a record with the band, and I was going to produce it because I had gained that trust with everybody. And one of the songs, I had a meeting with Columbia Records, and one of the songs that came to me at this meeting with another guy, I can't leave him out, from Columbia Records, Rick Chertoff,
Okay.
who's the A&R president, good guy. And they said, we want the band to record songs that we own, some songs that we own, some of the publishing we own, it's
Right.
music business stuff. And of course, I was just in the business of music, not the music business. But anyway,
Okay.
so it came to us, we could do Prince's 1999.
Okay.
We could do Soul Deep by Marvin Gaye.
Okay.
Or we could do Atlantic City by Bruce Springsteen, who just put out this cassette recording of, forget what the name of the
It was
record was.
acoustic,
Acoustic thing.
Yeah.
And
So
I said,
wait,
you
I
know,
guess you pick him, right?
I said,
yeah.
I said, well, it'd be quite an honor to produce a Bruce Springsteen since I met him in
And he opened for you guys.
1971.
Yeah.
Right.
71, and he
yeah.
used to work in a club that we had, and also I helped him buy paint for his father's store, but that's another story.
Okay.
And so I said, yeah, let's do that. So I produced a record by the band called Atlantic City, which was their comeback record, which is getting more popular now than ever before.
Right.
And it's funny that it became
It
so.
all-
When
yeah.
I recorded it in 1991, it was it did okay, but now every group in the world just about plays it, and you hear it all the time.
Right.
And when we first put it out, the reviews were not that great, but it's a fantastic
It's
version.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Very
Oh
good.
my gosh, this is incredible talking to you two. This
So
is
anyway, that was how
amazing.
we came full circle. So
Yeah.
now we have a great record that we just finished, because we're still writing music and playing shows 3-4
Right.
nights a week, or 2-3 nights a week, whatever makes sense. So now I want to get the record over to Bruce, because I do know his some people with him, and say he should hear this.
Okay.
And
he
that would be
should.
fun. It would be
Should be
fun to
good.
talk to him.
Yeah,
and,
it'd be
No,
good.
listen, I was going to say, did he hear it? You have to make sure
No,
that
not yet.
happens.
We haven't.
He's
started
got
yet,
to.
But we're
He's
gonna,
got to.
We'll do it. We will do that, because
All
I
right.
know people that work for him.
Yes.
Obviously.
So now
Plus
I've-
the mastering engineer, Bob Ludwig, who's the most world famous mastering engineer.
Okay.
He masters our records, and he masters all.
Yeah, I
Bruce's.
know the name, of course. I don't know
Yeah,
all
yeah.
about it, but yes. All right,
Yeah.
so now I have a question. Roots
Yeah.
Music Royalty.
Yeah. That came from there's a television show out in Massachusetts. Bill Hurley is his name.
Oh, okay.
And it's the extended play sessions, Fallout Shelter. He was the head of promotions for Atlantic Records for many years. So he decides, after the fall of the record companies, which, they've sort of collapsed at a certain point, he'd open this place up, and he goes and films in the Fallout Shelter as extended play sessions all the acts that want to be filmed and recorded. And he does it for nothing, which is amazing.
Oh
It's
my
It's
God.
an amazing gig. It's
Yeah.
a fantastic gig.
Yeah.
You look it up. So anyway, when we had told him this story and we're getting interviewed, he goes, "That's Music Roots royalty." So he's the one that coined the phrase.
Right.
And
Now,
we've stuck with it because it's a good phrase.
Now-
It happened maybe 20 years ago.
now
right.
that's your, I'm going to use the word, your band name or your group
Now, the
name?
band name is called the Chromatics.
Okay, that's right, the
Professor Louie and the
Chromatics.
Chromatics.
Right.
So-
That's sort of the logo he sort of gave us because at that time,
Got it.
guys I grew up with, John Platania was Van Morrison's guitar player in 1967, did Mood Dance, Domino, all the great Van songs.
Right.
Me and him grew up together and had bands together.
Up here,
So
yeah.
he still plays with us. So he was
Yeah.
in the group. So I brought him to Bill Hurley's. I said, well, here's a guy who wrote the Domino guitar licks with for Van. Then I had Gary Burke, who played with Bob Dylan on the Rolling Thunder Review,
Joe
and Joe Jackson. So I brought him. And then I brought Frank Campbell, the bass player, who was Levon Helm's music director, and Steve Fulbert. And so anyway, we had the Roots Music Royalty Band for Bill Hurley. So he said, boy, this is Roots Music
Yeah.
Royalty. So he said, okay, we'll keep it, even if they can't get on the road anymore.
All right, so my producer is shaking his head and smiling because he's like in awe listening to you guys as well. So I know,
The
right?
doc-
Doc G,
Doc,
right?
right?
So
Doc
now,
G, yeah.
I have
Well,
a,
John Botania, I mean, he still makes records with us. He can't hit the road, and he still goes
Oh,
with
yeah.
Van once in a while.
He just was with Van.
He was just with
Just
Van.
played with Van
But
2 weeks
pretty
ago.
much when we grew up together, I might not have driven him to the rehearsal, but it was close to driving to the first rehearsal with Van. Him and Van played duo shows together.
all right, so now tell us the title again of your band.
Now, the title is called Professor Louie
Yep.
and the Chromatics, Crowmatix.
Okay, tell us about your band, the members, and where you got that title.
Okay, the title comes from when I was working for the band somewhere around 1990, maybe. And sorry about that, but that's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, it's
internet
okay.
stuff. But anyway, around 1990, Levon Helm, the drummer from the band, singer, the guy who sings the weight, the movie star, played in a lot of great movies, right? If you're familiar with Levon,
Right stuff.
right stuff, tremendous star of movies.
Mm-hmm.
He was- as a character actor. Anyway, Levon comes to me because we were roommates in hotels, and we had at that point been on the road without coming home for 3 or 4 years. And Lee said to me, "I want to go out and play some solo shows. Can we put a band together to play solo shows?" I said, "Well, I'm playing in this band in Woodstock with some fantastic players called the Crows. But we can't use the Crows because there's all these Counting Crows and the Black Crows.
Okay.
Because, Levon's a national guy. We're going to go do a national tour, maybe with Steven Seagal, somebody like that."
Oh,
So I said to Lee, "We got to come up with a bird name because originally the band was Ronnie Hawkins and the Hawks.
Right.
That's how it started in 56, 57.
okay, go ahead.
So anyway, then Ronnie left and it became Levon Helm and the Hawks. So I said, well, Lee, we got Levon Helm and the Crows. Why don't we keep it a musical name and make it a scale and call it the Chromatics? But we won't spell it like the scale. We'll spell it like the bird name.
Right.
Crowmatix.
Right.
And Lee thought that was just fantastic. So we went on tour with Levon Helm as Levon Helm and the Chromatics.
Right.
And we made a record together called Souvenir Volume 1. Then around 92, when the Jericho record came out, which I produced, and all that, Lee said, well, we got to go on tour as the band, so we got to drop the Chromatics for a while. So then I came back, and since I was playing so many shows, duo shows of Rick Danko, who's the bass player of the band, who was probably the most loved guy of the band, really, because he was the nicest of them all.
Nicer
So
than
Rick-
you? Nicer than you,
Nicer
Lou?
than me.
All right,
yeah.
go ahead.
I couldn't get that nice. It'd be
Okay, go
impossible.
ahead.
To be that famous instead of that nice is really difficult.
Okay, go ahead.
And I was in awe of Rick, how nice he was to everybody being that famous, So, because he was also in the movies and, played a lot of tremendous records. Anyway, so then it was Professor Louie or Rick Danko and Professor Louie. And then when I said to Rick, I want to go out with the Chromatics again and play, we called it Professor Louie and the Chromatics.
So now, Marie, are you in that?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
I was in all of the groups. Actually, when
Okay.
I met Levon Helm and Rick Danko, when Louis was recording with them, and they heard me sing, and they, came and saw us perform and so forth. They knew us. We became good friends. They used to come to our house every other day. We all lived up here in the Woodstock area. So they asked me to sing background harmony on a lot of the live shows. And then eventually I did a lot of the harmonizing and a lot of performing on the recordings also. And I was honored to do that. I was honored because there are not very many women that played with the band. I mean, there was guest stars, people like Joni Mitchell and people that played,
Oh, yeah,
but
sure.
not actually in
Okay.
the band.
So
And
who,
so
Who are the members today, and tell me their roles?
Well, Professor Louie and the Chromatics man, because the band are no longer alive, which is why I don't have the job anymore.
Only
gotcha.
Garth Hudson.
Only
Only
one
Garth
guy
Hudson.
who's
Oh,
not
okay,
functioning.
gotcha. Rest in
Oh
peace.
yeah, otherwise I would have been there. I mean,
Yeah,
that was
rest
yeah.
in peace,
it
everybody.
was the best job
yeah.
you could have had. It was,
Okay.
it was a musician's dream to have a gig like that.
So now, right now, today.
But right now, who we
Yeah.
have now, there's a few members, but I have a fellow by the name of Dan Hickey playing drums.
Okay.
Shamika Copeland's drummer, Johnny Copeland's daughter, who's one of the
Okay.
greatest blues singers out there.
Yeah, he's a great drummer.
And now we have Frankie Campbell, who's still with us, the bass player, who's been with us from the beginning, because he
Yes.
was Levon Helm's music director. And then I picked up John Patania, had students, John Patania, the guitar player at Van, because John really can't get on the road like he could.
Okay.
And he said, I have this one student that's really sounding great, Todd Myhan. You should put him on the road and teach him how it works and
It's
put him out there. And he's really doing great,
Oh, my
fantastic
God.
guy.
Great.
So he's with us now. Then Miss Marie's with us.
Yeah.
So that's the 5 of us, including myself. And then we have a horn section that travels in and out with us because 4-piece, we'll use the Uptown horns, the guys from the Rolling Stones, or we use the Woodstock horns, which is a couple different chapters. Because sometimes it's hard traveling with 9, 10 people.
Yeah.
So we'll just, wherever we go, we'll try to get the horn section of that area, the best horn players
gotcha.
in that area.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they all come out. We have a great horn section from Pennsylvania.
Gotcha.
Fabulous.
But on the
fabulous.
records, I try to use everybody who's been part of the group to keep everybody involved as much as possible.
Where are you guys from? Where do you guys live?
Where we live right now, about 10 minutes from Woodstock, New York, and a small, I think it's a village town,
town.
called Hurley, New York.
All right.
Not Hurleyville, but
All right.
Hurley, New York, which
So-
is an old stone house town.
If you guys are ever in the tri-state area, I'm in, like the Trenton area of New Jersey. I'm in Robbinsville. Let me know, please.
Well, we play in New Jersey quite a bit. Actually, we're in Blairstown.
Gino, how far is Blairstown from us? Not sure? Yeah, he'll look.
Small.
Let me
Blairstown,
know.
we're at a place called Roy's Hall, which is a nice hall.
Let
And
me
then
let me know because I don't
Yeah.
care if it's an hour and a half away. If I can get somebody to drive with me, I'm
Are
coming
you in
to meet
southern
you.
New Jersey or northern?
Well,
New
we're like so we're like central kind of sort of. So we're like say exit 7A off of the New Jersey Turnpike. So I'm terrible with directions, but I could tell you
Yeah.
that.
Right.
No, we're down that way, but we played farther down too.
Right.
At a place called Lizzie Rose Rooms. I forget the name of the town.
All right,
Or
but-
you could come to the Cafe Wah.
Yeah.
Where's
Playing
that?
in New York
In the
City, in the
Village.
village. The
Oh.
old Cafe
Oh
Wah.
my God! So listen, I'm being serious about this. I want to meet you guys. So please get me info when you guys are going to be
All
around.
right, well, we'll put you on the mail. There's a big mailing list. We
All right,
don't
put me
handle
on
it.
it.
Somebody else does.
All right.
You guys are up
Yeah.
near the Delaware Water Gap,
So that's not that
Blairstown.
far
That's
from
pretty
Is that where
far.
Blairstown is?
That's far.
Yeah,
Oh,
Okay.
that's Blairstown. Is correct? Blairstown.
Blairstown. The Blairstown,
Yeah.
the Blair's Witch Project. Yeah,
all right. Well,
Blairstown.
we'll see what happens with the village.
Yeah,
All
we'll
right, just
check
let
it, yeah.
just put me on your mailing
We're,
list.
we're,
Yeah.
we're around New Jersey.
Yeah.
We're playing a lot, so
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
around.
yeah.
Now, let's give everybody a treat. So we've got
Okay.
about 4 of your songs we're gonna play. So
Nice.
we'll play
Alright.
one, and then you're gonna talk about that song, okay?
Okay.
All right, let's start there. Okay, Doc G, hit it.
Let's see if we know what song it is. From a subway in the city to a country sleigh rides in the snow. The peace and war for the young and old. Times they come and go. It seems like Merry Christmas is different every year. Friends get together for a little cheer. And some have changed partners, many troubles, many tears. It always seems like Christmas is different every year. It seems like every Christmas we hope for something new. Our families think we're crazy, we're staying home, just we two. Across the streets, the neon lights brighten up the atmosphere. It always seems like Christmas is different every year. And readings and cards signed love to you. Let's mail back our gift of friendship to take this Christmas out of the blue. Now I dreamed I talked with Santa. He said, don't worry, I will come on, dear. Your love will last forever. Through storms, the wind and tears. Remember to have a merry, merry Christmas, always full of cheer. Remember to have a merry, merry Christmas, different every year.
So guys, what you hear is not going to be as clear as
we
what they
figured
hear.
that.
Yes,
Yeah, we figured that.
You know
That's
that.
no problem.
All right.
Absolutely.
So tell us about this Christmas song, man. We all need some Christmas now, right?
Well, it's really funny you picked that one first because that's from our very new record. It's the bonus track off the record.
There you go, and I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's the bonus track. This is the first time anybody's ever heard it.
Wait,
Yeah,
right
that's
here,
it.
guys. Wait,
First.
we're debuting it right here on the Geri
Yeah,
Petito
yeah.
Show, Hamilton
Absolutely.
Radio. Go ahead.
Yeah, there we go. And the reason we did it, now this is a good story though. We've played a show since 2005 at a theater that holds about 4,000 people every night, right? We do it 4 nights in a row, so we're in front of 20,000 people
at Christmas.
at Christmas time.
Okay.
And it's a show called Melodies of Christmas. It's at the Proctor's Theater in Schenectady, New York. It airs on CBS 6, so it goes out to about 3 million people during the Christmas holiday. But the best part of it is that they have a cancer ward for kids in the Albany Medical Hospital. And it's called the Melodies Ward, okay?
Yeah.
We've raised over $12 million since we
God.
started with this show for this cancer ward in Albany.
Oh my God.
So every year that we get chosen to do that song or to do a Christmas show, they only ask us once every 4 years. We always have a new Christmas song for them or at least about them because we get a chance to play with the 100-piece orchestra and a 100-piece choir for that show.
Right.
It's the New York State Symphony and Choir
That's amazing.
with kids for that show. So this year we got chosen again, which is a really, we've been doing it since 2005.
It's
So
an honor,
it's
yes.
an amazing thing to be part of. And so that's why we put a Christmas song on the new record as a bonus track.
To do this new
do
song
this-
for the show
For the
coming
show
up.
coming up.
God bless you both. That's amazing. That's
No,
beautiful.
it is really absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the backers, besides CBS, which is a big backer, obviously, there's a big food chain up here called Price Chopper. It's a really, it's like the biggest food chain in New
Right,
York State
right.
and tri-state area.
Right.
They back it also.
Banks. there's
Banks
a lot of
back
different-
it.
A lot of different organizations.
And all year long, they raise money for this
Yep.
ward.
Yep, it's amazing. It's great.
Yeah, it's really quite, it's a black tie affair, but it's 4 nights in a row.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And, they have it's a variety show. So there's all kinds of different
They
things.
have like the Nutcracker. It's something like you would see at Radio City Music.
Yeah, it's
Hall.
like a
big Christmas show.
big Christmas show.
Beautiful.
It's a beautiful theater.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So
So
now-
anyway, that's why we. did the
Anyway, that's
song.
why we did the Christmas song, put it as a bonus track for this record, because by the time the Christmas show happens, we'll have the record in hand.
It's beautiful. Thank you for honoring me with that debut.
Well,
of
that's
the
good. I
song.
forgot to even send it to
So
you.
good.
I guess I started thinking, well, why not send it?
That's why you guys were smiling while it was on. I was saying,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
I was shocked.
We have so much material. I don't, people say send me your songs.
Right.
I just send stuff that
Very
whatever
cool.
hits me at the moment.
So, all right, now I have a question for each of you.
Yeah.
Right.
Growing up, all right, Maria, we'll start with you.
All right.
Growing up, who were some of your musical influences personally?
Yeah, personally, well, my dad influenced me tremendously because he was a music lover and played music in the house constantly and was always taping music, big band music, all kinds of stuff all the time. Loved jazz, he loved everything. So was always listening to a lot of like Ella Fitzgerald and Frank Sinatra and a lot of great singers. And then gradually, as I started with, working on more rock and roll and rhythm and blues, then I started listening to people like Aretha Franklin and all the Motown groups. And so there was so much great, Sam Cooke, I loved like when his hits came out. So I loved a lot of people, and I was influenced by, a tremendous amount of singers and musicians that I just heard.
So
You know,
now,
as-
do you have a song that resonates with you, like from back then, that will always be in your heart?
There's so many, but I
Right.
mean, one of the first songs I bought as a 45 was I Know You Don't Love Me No
Barbara
More.
George.
Oh,
Barbara
yeah.
George.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know
Yeah.
you don't love me no more. I listened to that like a million
There you go.
times.
Yeah.
And also I love the Isley Brothers. I used to listen to them, a lot of the, dancing with my friends, Dion. I
Oh,
love
forget
Dion.
it, right? Yeah, sure.
Dion was my favorite, and he's still performing, and he still sounds terrific.
Okay.
He's putting out blues CDs now.
Okay.
The man is unbelievable. He's unbelievable.
So,
He's terrific.
do you know the name Walter Santos?
That sounds familiar, but not maybe.
All right.
No, I mean,
So I'm
not-
going to tell you who Walter is, and you got to look him up, guys. Okay? He's a personal
Okay.
friend of mine. He's been live in our studio and everything. I've been to his
Okay.
church. He's a pastor. All right.
Okay.
He's a doo-wop singer. Here's the story,
Uh-huh.
real quick. So back in the day, he was really young, and he was messing around with drugs, selling drugs. He was going to jail for a long time. He was
Right.
in his 20s, maybe, whatever. And he goes in front of the judge, and the judge says, "You're not a criminal. You're just an idiot. Get back on that stage, so I'm going to have you pee in a cup for a year." So he didn't want to pee in a cup for a year, so he skips town. He goes to Vegas. All right? Well, he meets Dion.
Oh,
Okay. So he ends up back on stage, and he's going to be opening up for Dion one night. So he sees Dion sitting down, relaxing before the show, reading a book.
uh-huh.
So he goes over to him, and he doesn't realize it's the Bible. And he says, "Dion, how'd you do it, man? How'd you change?" And Dion points to the sky. Okay? So, long story short, they become very good friends. Walter Santos accepts Jesus through Dion, and he marries Dion's sister.
Wow.
Okay?
That's good.
That didn't last. That didn't last. And neither did his walk with the Lord at the time, I'm going to say.
Right.
So, you're young. That's what happens. So he was going,
Sure.
so then he was a mess again, this and that, until finally he couldn't do it anymore. And he gave his life to the Lord and said, "I'm done. Save me, God." And
Right.
now you have
Is
to look him up
Okay.
because he takes every original doo-wop song, keeps the music, and sings to the Lord. And I'm talking fun, amazing, incredible. So you got to check him out, Walter
I'll check
Santos.
it out.
Okay.
I'll
Check
check
him
it out.
out.
Yeah.
Check 'em
Absolutely.
out. Why not?
Santos, got it. I got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
Good
now-
story.
Go on.
Yeah.
So now, and Dion was his biggest influence,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
amazing. So now, okay, Louie, growing up, I'm going to ask you the same question. Who were some of your musical influences?
Well, my influences were all in person. Besides listening to the radio and liking that, but when I was very young, I had a great cantor who taught me how to sing. And he was a real good guy, older man, obviously. And he taught me how to sing and how to be able to sing consistently without stopping. And so he was my first influence as a singer. And I've used that training my whole life where I could still sing for days
Okay.
and not lose my voice.
Okay.
Hopefully it stays that way,
Okay.
Spoke about religious people,
Right.
but he was my first in person. Well, I was about 6, 7 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so every day we would sing together 3 or 4 days a week. It was sort of torture at the time, but I always liked going to see him because he was a nice guy, a nice Russian immigrant, who really thanked was thankful for being here and having a job.
Amazing.
Reverend Domowitz, that was his
That's
name.
beautiful.
Yeah, no, great. Then the next thing that happened in Peekskill, where I grew up, they had a great music teacher, Vinnie Corazine, who was a young guy, going back to where we started. So he had something that you could pick any instrument you wanted to play, and they would give it to you, and you could take it home, and they would teach you how to play it.
Okay.
So that was a school thing. So he was a big influence. Then he had small combos that would play the Catskill Mountains. He was an Italian guy, Vinnie Corzine. But, they had the Villa Romas and all those things up there, and the Italian Catskills, we used to call them. He would take us up there to play. And I got to see some of the what happened with the Catskills were in the big band era of the 50s, they all ran out of money.
Oh.
And, they all ended up settling, in the musicians, they all ran out of money in the Catskills, and they ended up settling there to play in the hotels. So there were these world famous musicians that ended up playing in the Catskill Mountains, and you would watch them every night.
In the hotels. Yeah.
Tuxedo Junction. There was a guy, Bobby Johnson, who did this trumpet solo on Tuxedo Johnson. Who was the nicest. He was as tall as he was wide. Nice guy. And so you would watch these people every night with Vinnie Corazine, and so you would start asking them questions, and they bring you on the bandstand and start showing you how to play the song. This fellow Lou Perez, who had Spanish big bands, he wrote Oye Como Va,
Yeah.
which,
Yeah.
And he was Lou? He's been around forever. Anyway,
Oh my
he would
God.
be up there. He ended up moving up there. So we go up with Vinnie Corazine, who was the junior high school teacher, and play in his combo and hang out. Then he decides on Thursday nights in the summer to have a big band in Peekskill from all the musicians that lived in the area. And so every Thursday night, maybe 40 or 50 musicians would come together in the high school and have this big band. And we used to go down there, watch, sometimes be able to play. So that was pretty big influence. But also at the same time, you could watch some of the oldies acts that would come through.
Yeah.
And you may back them up, with your rock and roll band, the Toys, the Times.
Oh, I've interviewed all the toys. Yes.
That's what you did? Oh, okay. Well,
Oh
that's
my
great.
gosh, forget it.
Bert, what was the guy who invented, he wrote a lot of songs. Bert
Burns.
Burns. He
Okay.
had groups that would come through and you back up some of Bert Burns stuff. He wrote Hang On Sloopy and
Oh,
Do You
see,
Love
I don't
Me and
know
stuff
him,
like
and
that.
I know the song, of course.
yeah, and he wrote Do You Love Me and things like
He
that.
wrote amazing songs, Burt Burns.
And so anyway, Bert had bands that, would come through with famous oldies acts and you'd play a review. That's what they used to call them, reviews, so you would play the reviews. And there was clubs that had, these things going on all the night. So I was with an older band and we'd go back. It was a guy by the name of Joey Greco. Probably some of your older musicians would know him that you interview. Joey Greco in the In Crowd.
Okay.
We would play Trudy Heller 6 nights a week in Manhattan.
I don't think I know that name. Why?
Joey Greco. Well, he might have been, maybe nobody ever talks about him, but he was a great rocker, and he backed up a lot of these guys.
Okay, okay.
Freedom Land, I don't know if you remember Freedom Land in the Bronx or Palisades Park. With Freddie
Palisades
Cannon.
Park, of course. I was
Yeah,
a kid.
okay. Well, like Joey might be the house band there for a while,
Okay.
Well,
I grew up in Long Island City, New York, Queens, but my dad moved us out of there when I was 12 to New Jersey. So I
Okay.
remember, of course, Palisades,
Yeah. Well, there were gigs there. They used to have music there all the time.
That's cool.
So I played in some of those bands that would back up these people. So I'd watch them. I'd watch those bands like a hawk to see how they did it. There was a black singer I love called Johnny Thunder who did a song
yeah,
called
of
My
course.
Prayer.
Come
I
on.
backed him up at least 100 times
That's
when I was like 16,
amazing.
17. Yeah.
All right,
So I
listen.
would watch him all the time.
Marie, do me a favor. Pinch him
Yes.
for me. Pinch him right now for me. Okay, I'm
Okay.
pinching you. Now pinch her for me, because come on, she was right
Okay,
there
we
with
could do
you.
that. We could pinch. I could pinch you. We'll pinch you.
Thank you. I mean, come on, pinch me, please. All right, so listen, let's play
So anyway,
another.
those are my influences watching.
right.
Besides
Incredible.
records,
Right.
but I'll tell you one record that I like that people probably don't discuss much. The first Joey D record, Live at the Peppermint Lounge.
Excuse me, honey. I not only got to meet and hug that man. Okay, I got to
Okay.
interview
Fabulous.
him.
And his brother.
Are you kidding me? What people
Right.
listen? I was crying. I was crying when I met him. I had to. All right, listen. He actually was still getting low on that stage only a few years ago. Okay,
believe you, yeah.
still getting low. He wasn't. I mean, I'm not kidding you. And I was crying. I'm like, this man is unbelievable,
Well, it was amazing dancing.
Yes.
right?
Right,
But the
right.
first record they put out was just an organist and a drummer with those guys, with him and his brother and a few of them. It was one of the greatest organ drumming records ever made. I still listen to it.
Okay, I still listen to it. Okay, listen,
Yeah.
I don't care. I could say my age because I always say this. I was born in '61. There's a reason why I say that because I'm an old soul. I feel like I was born too late. All my music is oldies, Elvis, and doo-wop. You can't take the rock and roll out of me, Led Zeppelin, Far, and all that. You can't.
Right.
But let me tell you, that's my music, and I always say, it's music, the greatest music of all time, because the year I was born, you know how many hits came out in '61? And we're
Yeah.
still listening to all
Yes.
this music today.
I know.
It was
I know.
music.
Yeah.
It was incredible. It made the musicians today who they are,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
You know, I
we're
want
both on it.
I want to mention one more thing. When I was very, very young, I wanted to go with my girlfriends to the Murray the K show
Okay.
downtown Brooklyn, and my parents wouldn't let us go. But we found out that they would have shows starting at 9 in the morning, and they would go like 4 shows until 6 o'clock at night. So we lied to our parents, said we were going to A&S to go shopping for clothes.
Yes.
And we went to the early Murray the K shows, and that was of great influence because on those shows, as you know, they had a backup band and they had everybody, Dionne Warwick, The Temptation. I mean, everybody would come through those shows. So I did see when I was very, very young, I was amazed. I didn't know who these people were. I had never seen anything like that in my life. I grew up in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. There wasn't one black person in Bay Ridge. They didn't have black people in Bensonhurst and Bay Ridge. And going to those shows as a young girl, I was just completely flabbergasted. I thought it was so fabulous. And it
Insane.
changed my life forever. Listening to these people sing, perform, and just the whole concept. It was amazing.
Well,
Absolutely amazing.
You know, I don't have your story, but, you know, growing up, I mean, I made sure whenever I went to any of these shows, because I'm crazy, I got backstage somehow, some way.
Sure.
Even if I had to sneak through back doors, lie to the people in
Right.
charge. I don't care.
Yeah,
I
right.
I used to hang out with the Four Tops, okay? Listen, I didn't care whatever it took, okay?
That's
Not, you
great.
know what I mean, not whatever it
Yeah,
took, but
yeah.
I would lie to everybody and say, listen, hey, Chubby Checker came to our town. I was in my 20s, and he did a benefit in East Windsor, New Jersey, okay? So I'm going with my boyfriend I started dating, and my cousin was his best friend, and I hooked up my cousin with my girlfriend, so the 4 of us, right? My
Yep.
girlfriend worked at the Holiday Inn there, whatever it was at the time back then. He was staying there, Chubby Checker. So
Right.
I had beauty salon, so I'm a 20-year-old with long black curly hair to my butt, right? My girlfriend calls me. She's like, oh my God, I thought you were just having breakfast with Chubby Checker. She saw the back of the girl with the hair sitting down. She goes, and she knew we were going to see him that night. She goes over there and it's someone else, and she goes, you're his type. You're his type. So we go to the show. I have to tell the story. We go to the show, and it was a small club. So I've got my back to the stage, and I'm talking to my new boyfriend, my cousin, and her. And they go, turn around. Now, he saw the back of my hair, so she was right. Turn around. I turn around. He's in my face with his 2 bodyguards, kisses my lips, picks me up, puts me on the stage. And I got to twist with him.
Oh my God.
A few years later, a few years later, the Capris, Michael D'Amore, he's like family to me. He's the new lead singer of the Capris. They were doing a show with Chubby Checker. So, gets me backstage, and I go, what door? And they're like, all right, that door. So I go, and there's his bodyguard. And I go, listen, you get that man. He won't remember me, but I'll never forget him. I twisted with him when I was in my 20s, and I'm twisting with him tonight. They got him out of his dressing room,
Great.
and I got to hug him and get another photo with him.
Nice.
Great.
So
Fantastic.
those stories are the stories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
You should tell me your chubby story.
I just made a
One
record
more.
with Chubby Checker.
Just now.
Maybe about
2 years
3
ago.
3 years ago.
Okay.
He wanted to do a country record,
Country song.
and he wanted to make a country single. So they hired me to play accordion on the country single. Actually, I think they used a bunch of Woodstock. I figured one country will go to Woodstock to make a country record.
Yeah.
If they, but because Chubby comes from Arkansas, right?
Yeah.
So I figured, well, I said, well, you should go to Arkansas and make a country record. You're a good place to make one, But anyway, it came to Woodstock, so we made a record with him.
And he sounded
Sounded really
fabulous.
good.
This is only 2
Yeah,
years
sounded
ago.
right.
His
Yes.
voice, everything fabulous.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Yeah, I got
now-
the 45. I made sure they sent me a 45 with his
We
logo.
have
There
it.
you
We have
go.
the 55.
Yeah.
So this is what we're going to do now, producer.
Oh.
Producer, we're going to play another song. guys, and then we're going to talk about it.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Here we go.
I hope it's not another Christmas one.
Let's see what one they.
Well, the wild mountain streams, they tumble wide and blue. Yes, the wild mountain streams, they tumble wide and blue. Where the wild waters mix, I am here with you. If you're looking for a rainbow, it's right there on your windowsill. If you're looking for a rainbow, it's right there on your windowsill. When you're dancing and singing, hugging those you love, what a thrill. To your daughters and sons. To your daughters and sons. There's room enough for loving, love enough for everyone. Reach for the stars, reach for the open door. Reach for the stars, reach for the open door. Reach out to your neighbor, everybody get on board. To your daughters and sons. To your daughters and sons. Well, there's room enough for love enough for everyone. Wow! When tears like rain fall down and you've had enough. When tears like rain fall down and you've had enough. No need to worry, no need to fight and fuss. To your daughters and sons. To your daughters and sons. There's room enough for love enough for everyone. Tell your daughters and sons. Tell your daughters and sons. There's room enough for love enough for everyone. There's room enough for love enough for everyone. There's room enough for love enough for everyone.
That was a great song. All right, come on, tell us about this
thank
song.
you.
The daughters and
Well, the Daughters and Sons, that one's been played quite a bit. It's a good uplifting song, it's great. We once had a guy from Columbia Records who worked John Vinyl. It was pretty big. He did a lot of stuff with Little Steven, and he's PBS kind of Columbia Records guy. And he said, always make sure you play that song on every show.
Oh.
He thought it was a hit song. So at one point it was making some progress, in the world of records. And we always continue to play it. And that's a pretty good version. We recorded it a few times. That's a pretty good version of it, though, I must say. And, it's a good original song. It's our song.
Yeah,
Well,
I love it.
I think all of them I sent you are originals.
Okay.
So we don't have to worry about any stuff,
Okay, so I have a question about your originals. All right, so
Yeah.
first of all, about how many songs have you written and who writes or co-writes with you guys? Like, go ahead, tell me.
Well, most of the time it's just Marie and myself.
Okay.
Once in a while, somebody from one of the groups or one of the, because since I'm always producing other people's records, I'm always on the hunt for great songs.
Gotcha.
Because a lot of good artists don't write great songs.
Okay, right.
So I'm always on the hunt. So I have discovered a few great songwriters out there. And so once in a while, I'll take one of their songs. If the artist I'm working with doesn't want to do one, because it's up to the artist, then maybe we'll do it. And we'll add something to it to make our own. And usually they're pretty happy about that because they know they're going to get their song recorded. But usually I'll come up with we'll write separately, like this last record we just wrote. We wrote separately for a while, and then we'll come together with all the ideas and start formulating songs from all the different ideas. And the best trick that we've learned is how to edit yourself. You know, it's good to know how to edit. So when you do something and you write something and what not to use, what to use, what's the goal of the record, and try to keep that, stick to the plan, as they say, of what that record is, you know. So that's one of the ways we do it. But once in a while, we'll have another co-writer in there that might come up with a great guitar lick and send me something. You know, here's a great guitar lick. Can you use this for a song?
Oh,
But I only deal with people that I know are willing to be flexible
okay.
and not too possessive of their writing. If somebody's
Yeah.
too possessive of their writing, I
Right.
can't deal with it.
I get it. So wait,
Yeah.
Marie, I want to ask you a
Yes.
question.
Yes.
And I'm sure you can't answer it exactly, whatever, but what usually comes first for you guys, as a collaboration? The words or the melody?
It's a funny thing, like usually when I start singing something it'll come out of nowhere. A lot of people, you'll hear that. I'll be driving in the car, start singing a phrase over and over, like a chorus of a song. So that starts out, you usually have like one or two lines of a lyric
Okay.
that keeps coming over and the melody with that. So then you have to develop that though. Then you sit down and say, okay, now I want to write a verse to this. And a lot of times I will then continue. It's easier for me at times to do the lyrics. So I will continue writing a whole lyrical
Okay.
piece and go to Louis and say, Louis, listen to this and listen to this chorus I'm writing. And then he'll take it and really put some beautiful chords and put the music to it. And then we collaborate as far as the lyrics also. Louis will say to me, oh, you could do better on that, or you could change that lyric, or let's make this better. And you really have to be able to take constructive criticism,
Okay.
no matter who you
Yeah,
are. So,
sure.
because you have to know that, things can always be better.
Right.
Just keep working on it,
Well, the lyrics are really the most
And the
important.
lyrics are important. Yeah.
Yeah, of
Because you're
course.
telling a story, and you
Yeah,
if you have to keep
absolutely.
telling a story you hate over and over, you don't want to do
Yeah, if
it.
it becomes
Yeah,
a hit song, you
but
better
so
like
wait.
You gotta like it.
You're right. Wait, because I'm a poet. I'm going to be reading a poem today. So you're right. The words are very important.
Yeah, they
But
are.
but hold that thought for a minute. So, we did, we did the interview here yesterday, with Danny from Short Shorts,
Yeah.
I mean, think about that song. There weren't many lyrics.
No. Well, in
And
those
look, it
days,
was-
you gotta have hit records because you're just there sitting in the
I'm
brill
just
building
saying,
writing.
I'm being
Right.
cute, but I mean, think about it. But you're right. All right.
Yeah. Now his partner was he the one, or was his partner the one who wrote the music to Pearly Victorious, the Broadway play?
That I can't answer, but I could
Oh,
ask
okay.
him for you.
That'd be
okay?
interesting to know who.
All right.
I
If
had
you-
something to do with who wrote Short
If you
Shorts.
text me, listen to me. You have to text me
Okay.
or I'll forget, guys. Text me
Okay.
that question for him, and I promise. Tell
Because
me.
I just did the music. I just was part of the music to the revival of Pearly Victorious on Broadway.
Oh.
And and in reading it, this was not the musical version. We just did like sort of different kinds of music to
Oh,
it.
that's
Background.
cool.
Background. And when I read it, because it was Melba Moore who did the singing version.
All right.
First, it was 1960, it was all talking. Well, the first time it hit
All right.
Broadway. Second time was Melba Moore, and now this third version that we did with the fellow from Hamilton. Anyway, I was reading it somewhere. The fellow who wrote the original Melba Moore score had something to do with who wears
All
short
right, so
shorts.
if you ask me that
I'll ask
question
that.
and tell me who to ask,
And
so I
could probably
remember.
look at
Okay,
Okay.
I promise.
it. It's a good one though.
It's a great one. All right, producer, let's play our third. We have four, guys.
Okay.
We're going to play our
Yeah,
third
good.
one, and then we'll talk about it.
Right, Jerry. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
Too many cracks in the sidewalk, trying to trip me up. Too many signs of destruction, I guess I had enough. Everybody hiding in their home. Nobody left to say hello. Neighborhoods have all been closed. Isolation made me edgy. Got some traveling on my mind. Race across the universe. Look for love. Change my life. Got to move on. Things will change. Everybody needs a break. Desperation. Every day. What's going on? Living in this country. Where I want my home to be. Living in this country. USA, the greatest place for me. Not going back to Brooklyn, a big old lonely world. My family home, bought and sold, tearing up this Brooklyn girl. Friends left many years ago, nobody there to say hello. Too many stories left untold. Down at Three Jolly Pigeons, drinking all alone. Nobody wants to rock and roll. Everybody's on their phone. Memories hanging on the wall. All my friends in days of old. Everybody's up and down. Living in this country. Where I want to be. Living in this country. USA, the greatest place for me. Oh yeah, gotta love this land. Yeah, strike up the band. Yeah, gotta take a stand. Living in this country, what's right for me? Living in this country, I love this land. Gonna take a stand. I'm gonna rock, keep on rocking with my band. Living in this country, living in this country.
All right, come on.
Okay.
Wow, Miss Marie, you wrote it, so
Come on.
Yep. Well, I wrote that song actually, if you go back into the lyrics during COVID, because, there were, all the neighborhoods were closed, everything was closed. And I would go down to Brooklyn to visit my family and there was nobody around and it was like a ghost town. But I always said living in this country is still the greatest place for me because it is what I do believe. Being in other countries and seeing how things go, I still feel that we have the greatest freedom here, and I really am, honored to be living here. So that's why I wrote that.
So, first of all, I want to thank you guys and everyone out there who does music, because without you guys during COVID, I don't know what we would have all done.
Right.
And I mean
know.
that from the bottom of my heart.
yeah, pretty boring time. yeah.
Yes, yes.
You know,
Absolutely.
Yes.
and so I thank all of you.
Thank you.
I do.
You're
And
welcome.
recently I do a lot of lives. Like if I go out to the shows, I'll ask the singers, "Can I take a live of you?" And they're like, "Sure, yes or
Right,
no,
right.
whatever." And
Yeah.
recently it was after COVID, but recently a woman was in the hospital. I don't want to say her name. She's on Facebook. A woman was in the hospital, and I did a live, and she messaged me and said she was crying and thank you so much because she had the nurse prop her phone up so she could watch that for an hour.
Yeah.
And like what you guys do in general with music, music saves lives. It really does, and we all
Yeah,
know
it does.
that.
It
we
absolutely
know
does.
that.
I do.
You put it.
Absolutely.
You
People
put it.
say it all the time.
Yeah, and it's the truth. You put a baby, 6-month-old baby, in the bouncy and turn music on. That baby bounces.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You go
But
into
it's
nursing
it's also
homes.
back and forth. I always
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like when I'm performing and I get such tremendous feeling from the audience for myself, then I feel great and I know they feel great, so we all feel great.
Yeah.
So that's why these
You're right.
concerts end up really really wonderful
No, you're right. You're right.
all
You know.
around.
Yeah, I was wrong before about the Pearly Victorious, though. What was the
The
song?
song was Itsy Bitsy
Oh.
Teeny Weeny, Yellow
Oh,
Polka
come
Dot
on.
That's it.
Baby.
All right,
Yeah,
so-
that's the song. That's the song.
All right.
Not Too Wear Short.
Not
All right,
short.
They
so
all
listen.
seem to be the same to me,
We-
though.
So I not only got to interview him as well, baby, okay? I was cracking up laughing because the whole time I'm saying, come on, itsy bitsy baby, but
Yeah,
did
that's
you
the
ever
one.
see that video?
No,
All
I
right.
don't remember.
You got to see that video. I'm not a fan of
All
what
right.
went on with the Dick Clark show with that song.
Oh,
with
the
that
Dick
video.
Clark. Oh, yeah, yeah.
All right.
Okay, we'll
little
take a look. I
little
haven't seen it.
girl in a bikini covered. I
Oh.
didn't like it at all. So I said to him, I said, I didn't like that video based on.
Right.
And he said,
Yeah.
Jer, when you're young and you're back then, we didn't even know what we were getting on stage too.
Right.
Of course.
And
Oh,
that's
yeah,
the
yeah.
truth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the truth. And
Yeah, yeah.
so, but the song, forget about it, okay?
Yeah,
That's funny.
Yeah, yeah.
It's good.
All of it, Oh
Mm-hmm.
my gosh, amazing.
Well, living in this country is a good message for everybody, because when you do travel and you go to some places that are extreme poverty ridden or you know what they're based on, you really appreciate when you get back
You're
here,
right.
no matter what side of the fence you're on.
No, you're
these
right.
days.
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. So
I know-
uplifting.
No, I know, like, we have a lot going on that I wish we could change. And, I hope this
Sure.
country gets back. But you're right. And like what Marie said about going to these other countries. And
Oh yeah.
little
Yeah.
tiny story about Russia. We had a free afternoon and we wanted to go. Me and my cousin went to see the biggest church they have in this yard area, and we
Okay.
went. And then there was a guard with a gun up at the top of the steps, not letting anyone in except this little
Right.
old lady with a cane because they were no threats to them. But there was a family sitting on the park bench. It was a mom. It was a grandmother, her daughter, and her babies. So she had a baby in her arm and a little 2-year-old with her. I'm going to talk to her. I don't care. And there was a guard sweeping. Okay. So I'm talking to her, showing her pictures of my daughter, who might have been 5 or whatever she was back then. And she takes out little plastic earrings from her ear and she puts them in my hand and she says, "For you, baby." So I
Oh.
take out little tiny diamond studs and I put them in her hand and I say, "For you, baby." Well, the guy sweeping, KGB, came running at us with his gun, grabbed.
Wow.
I still have those plastic earrings. He didn't take them out of my hand, but he took the diamonds out of hers, put them in my hand, smashed my hand like, "Get out of here," and took the gun and pointed at them and said, "Go."
Wow.
And
Scary.
well, it wasn't even that it was scary for me. It was heartbreaking for me. So when you're right. So when we think, because you've been out of the
Yeah.
country, we've seen a lot more than a lot of people. You're right about this country with that. So thank you
Absolutely.
for that song. That song was beautiful.
Thank you.
So, guys, we still have a little bit of time. We will be
All right.
playing one more song. But
Okay.
Good.
now I'm going to read a poem out of my book for everybody.
Okay.
okay.
Good idea.
Now, this is why I wrote this poem, because it's called Utilizing Gifts and Talents. And this is why I read this poem when I do a lot of singers, musicians, and talented people, even authors. Because a lot of people message me after the shows wishing they could sing like you, Marie, or wishing they could sing like him, or write music like you guys. And people feel like sometimes they have nothing to offer. So if that's you listening, guys, you have something to offer. Every single one of us was born with a gift. You got to figure out what it is. So please listen to the words of this poem. Okay? Okay. We are born with talents. We are born with drive, with different gifts to help us thrive. I knew early on I was born to draw and paint, to also write poetry, and to talk without restraint. Our gifts and talents should all be used. God's gift to us, not be abused. We can go far in life for sure, using our gifts to go on tour, like these guys do all over the world. All our talents should be used to create ourselves and more, but then our job's to share them, to even up the score, like these guys do. You see, in life, what's needed is not just for ourselves. Once our gifts are mastered, take them off the shelves. A living we can make by spreading them around, not just for the money, but to spread a peaceful sound. Don't take for granted the gifts you're given. Go out and spread the joy. Our gifts are not to be held back for us to self-destroy. Put your efforts forth. Do not hesitate. All your talents, my friend, are never second rate. Never hold them back or you will surely die. Maybe not in body, but your soul will cry. Our gifts were made to share, our talents made to soar. So go through life enlightened, and then you can roar. Be proud of who you are. Be happy you're alive. Once again, my friend, your gifts will help you thrive. By putting efforts forth, guys, not keeping them at bay, your names, Professor Louie and Miss Marie, baby, will live forever, forever and a day. So go through life excited for what you sure can give. To yourself and others is our reason to live. Our grave will be quite lonely, but our legacy lives on. So make sure people smile with the breaking dawn. And guys,
Very nice.
Very good, Jerry.
Yeah.
thank you. You guys are doing that. You guys have been doing that. And you're making everybody smile. And your music is incredible. And what you guys
Thank
are
you.
doing, please, I hope you never stop. Never.
No reason to.
No,
There's no reason to.
not until we can't do it anymore.
No. So what I'm going to do is we're going to play your final song.
Okay.
Okay.
We're going to talk about it. And then I'm going to give you guys the mic back for closing. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, sounds
Here we
good.
go.
Yeah.
All right, producer.
So this-
I'm gonna climb the mountainside. The top is high. I wanna reach the sky. The hill is steep, a sharp incline.
us about that song.
That song is an uplifting song. It's good for your show, which I'm glad it worked out because it is about people getting together and working things out. And it's got the good horn section on there. It's one of the songs. It's called "Work It Out," which is what we all have to do is work things out together. And it's beginning, and it still is getting lots of play on Sirius Radio on the Blues.
Oh, cool.
On the Blues Network. Yeah, tremendous amount. It's been that way for a couple of years already.
Okay,
So
cool.
somebody there has picked up on what we were trying to get across.
Good.
So it's nice, yeah. So,
Yeah.
and I got to thank you, Jerry, for playing 4 of our original songs.
Yes,
It's really
thank
nice.
you. Thank
We
you.
used to call them Professor Louie takeovers.
I love that. Well,
Yeah.
Doc G,
Thank you.
he'll be saying hello to you in a few minutes, but
Yes.
Doc G's going to be playing all these songs on Hamilton Radio.
Oh, great.
Thank you.
This show will also be on iHeartRadio next week. I'll get you the ad. I'll let you know
That's
when.
really good.
You
Yeah,
know?
that's great.
What you guys are doing is incredible. Your music's awesome.
Thank you very
All
much.
right. Your personalities are ridiculously cool. All right.
Oh,
And
yeah, good.
where you've been and what you've done and who you've hugged and who you've sang with them. Come on, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Oh, it's been a great life. We've been
Yeah.
really, been really happy with the way things have turned out. And I think that's nice. It wasn't planned at all. And of course, there's been a lot of rocky roads,
yeah.
which we don't discuss because, rather keep everything on the positive side.
Yeah. Wait,
Yeah.
I didn't ask you this before I give you the mics in closing. I didn't ask you this about how many songs have you guys written?
Oh,
There's been hundreds. I think
Hundreds,
we
couple
okay.
hundred. at
couple
least.
hundred. But we have
Okay.
17 albums out.
No, okay, very cool.
Yeah,
So
very
that
cool.
right there has to
Right.
be 170 just
Okay, very cool.
recorded songs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Very
published
cool.
and things. Yeah.
Do you know who Trade Martin is?
Trey?
Trade
Trade?
Martin.
No.
Okay, so
Once you do your own thing so much like us,
no,
we're sort
I
of
get it. I
isolated.
get it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if you look him up, he's up in age now. He's still going strong. He
Okay.
has written songs with, to, for, worked with every legend, every unbelievable.
Great.
And he got in touch with me and said, "Let's go, Joe. We're writing a song together." And we wrote a Christmas song together last year.
Nice.
It was really,
Yeah.
it was, but I'm not a songwriter. I'm not a songwriter. So he
Well,
did.
you write poetry though, so there you
Right.
go.
So, but
That's
he
it.
did most of it, and he'll say, "No, you did as much," and no, I didn't. Okay.
Well, you might have inspired him.
You know,
What
it was cool.
inspires you sometimes is
It was
more
cool.
important than the actual
No,
song
it was
itself.
cool. It was fun. But
Yeah.
Great.
I want to personally thank you guys for honoring me with this incredible interview today. Your stories are off the charts. We will
Thank you,
talk
Jerry.
privately, and gosh, amazing what you've done. Oh, have you ever met Elvis?
No, we've been to Graceland a few times,
Yeah.
for sure,
Yeah,
to
but
go to
no.
Memphis. Never met Elvis, no, not personally, never did.
Okay.
I met his guitar players, because they come around and play or
That's
had,
pretty cool.
At the time. Yeah, no, they did great. And when we used to go play with Levon down at the Opry and places like that, those guys would all show up because of Arkansas, and all that.
Yeah.
So I was 16 when he died. And my mother finally said I could go see him, and he died. So I have that ticket framed in my Elvis poker room. I have an Elvis poker
right.
table I had made.
Yeah.
And I got to interview his nurse Marion, who's up in her 90s now, not very well. She became a good friend of mine. I got to interview Priscilla Presley's son Navarone just a couple years ago.
Oh,
I was interviewed by George Klein at Graceland. So my heart is just like, if I didn't get to meet him, you know what I mean? At least I got
Right.
some incredible connections. Now I want to
Yeah.
ask you
He
something.
was a real bridge between a lot of, he was recording all those old blues race records and making them hit records.
Oh my God.
Quite a bridge between things. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if you ever heard of these two people, Elvis Aaron Presley Jr.
Well, that's I don't know if I know the
No.
junior. No.
Okay. What about Deborah Presley Brando?
no.
Okay.
I don't think so.
So if you look up both of them, they are his children. I got to interview them both. I've become very good friends with them. Junior, I've interviewed more than once, recently again, and I hooked him up with Benny King's son, with all the legends' sons.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they did a
sons.
show together.
Tons.
cool.
He is his son. I have court documents and everything. If you go on YouTube, Elvis Aaron Presley Jr., he looks just like his father would look. He's my age. He's 60. He's 64. He's a few months older than me.
Okay.
He was born in 61. His mother, Angelique, had an affair with Elvis in one of the movies. The story's out there now. He was on Howard Stern. He was on National Enquirer. Also, Deborah Presley, she was the first child.
Okay.
Elvis was still poor, and just starting to sing, and when her mom got pregnant. And that's another whole story. But it's amazing. So I want to thank you again, honestly, both of you, for doing this for me and Hamilton Radio. I want to give you guys the mic back.
Okay.
Say whatever in closing. I don't want you to forget to say whatever you have to say if you forgot something. And then I'm going to ask Doc G to say hello to you guys on
All
air.
right, sounds good.
Okay? Go ahead.
Well, we got to thank you for having us on the show. You know, it reminds me a little bit when we're playing the songs. Did you ever watch the Joe Franklin show?
Sure.
Yes, because we used to do the Joe Franklin show quite a bit. He always would you would sit there on the couch and then he'd play your songs and they put the camera right on you while the songs are playing. You know?
Okay.
Yeah, right.
So you had to figure out exactly, well, how should I act while those songs are being played? Yeah, it's really good. We always used to get a laugh at it. But I like Joe because he would give everybody an opportunity. We would actually go up to his offices and hang out. He had, he really had great archives.
Unbelievable.
But anyway, Jerry, that's what this show, in honor of Joe Fred, this sort of reminded me because he
thank
would ask
you.
great questions.
Oh,
I used to
thank
love
you.
his questions, and they were always really personal and great. And he would get down to the nitty gritty. So thank you so much for having us on the show.
You're welcome,
Wonderful.
sweetie. Doc G, what do you want to say to these two? Is that amazing?
Wow, incredible. I don't know why the microphone's
That's
not working.
right here.
There you go. You got to tighten it up.
Incredible, yeah.
like
Yeah, I
beyond
know,
the
the wire. But anyway, incredible stories. All the people, like she said, that you've met, you've been around, you've recorded with, been part of. It's just an incredible journey. I'm sure you even touched just a little bit of what you did,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Right.
You probably need a 3-hour interview for
Yes.
everything.
Well, there was one name I forgot, and I just remembered. Mac Rice. Mac Rice was the guy who had the gospel group, the Falcons. The first lead singer of the Falcons, who I used to watch, was Wilson Pickett.
Oh, I know Wilson Pickett.
of
I didn't know
course.
the other name.
Mac Rice. He wrote Mustang Sally,
Oh. Okay,
and
cool.
and Cheaper to Keep Her and Respect Yourself.
Oh my God.
But also, the thing that was great with Mac, he didn't make a lot of money because in those days it was tough. So he had a blacktopping business, But he used to always tell me the one who wrote Ride Sally Ride and Mustang Sally was Aretha Franklin.
That's so
'Cause
cool.
he hired her to do the first demo.
So she
So she
put
really
that,
penned
she put the line
Mustang
in.
Sally with Mac Rice.
Right, the ride.
That's what I was
Sally
trying to
ride.
remember his name. I couldn't
Right.
No,
remember.
that's good. That's really cool.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway.
So thank you guys. This
More
was
trivia.
amazing. So, all right, Doc G, say your last words to them.
Yeah, again, incredible journey. Thank you for letting us be part of it, Jerry, me, and your music is definitely. I'm just sending it to myself. I'm going to be playing that probably
thank
this
you.
week, and then for Christmas, the Christmas song. I love stuff
Yeah.
like that, and I love to help get people to know who you are because you're
that
so
would be great.
important to the music industry.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, because these days with all the tribute things out there,
I
it's
know.
hard to be who you are.
I know.
Yeah.
It's really unbelievable. I mean,
know.
not that I'm complaining about anything because people
No,
are
I
making
know.
a living, but it's hard for musicians to be who they really are.
I know.
Yeah,
You got to
we-
be somebody else.
we understand. Yeah, you got to be who
Wow.
you are, and
It's really scary.
It's incredible too because even the people over the years that I met, some people that were friends with Elvis's band and in Elvis's band,
Yeah, sure.
just incredible people that I've known that were blues guitarists that were friends with these people,
Sure.
and incredible journeys, and again more stories. But
Yeah.
they're truthful, they're honest, and they experience these situations, and it makes it part of music industry history. So thank you for letting us be part of that. That's what I think.
Thank you so much, Doc. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, he'll close us out with my theme song, but I just want to say
Okay.
this again to you guys that your journey is off the charts. Listen, I'm not a jealous person, but I'm a little jealous, baby. I was born too late, honey. I wish I could have done half of what you guys did with these people, all right? Come on. I always say, I wish I was on the street corners with these guys singing. I would have loved that. In my poodle skirt, I would have wore it, But,
Yeah. Now, sometimes when you used to hear that, when you'd be walking by, you didn't know if it was the radio or if it was happening there. It was an incredible thing to
Yeah.
hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so thank
to
you,
hear 'em.
guys. Thank you. All right,
Thank you,
producer.
Jerry. You're on the mailing list, so just
Thank
keep
you.
an eye out.
Thank you.
All
Okay.
All
All right.
right.
Talk to you soon.
Producer,
Take
take
care.
us out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an addict. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do,
Just what to do, just what to do.
if what you're feeling is really true,
Is really true, is it really true?
just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
One day at a time.